I Love the 70s is brought to you by the letter V, the letter H, and the number 1.
Shut up, will you? We just watched the hair.
Let's go!
Hey, Jive Turkey, you think you're a 70s fan? Okay, Kunta Kinte, can you handle this?
I've been waiting for you.
It's I Love the 70s, and this is 1977. The flicks, the fashions.
I love what you're wearing.
The fads, the TV, the tunes. A far-out year that gave us these burning questions. Wonder Woman, superhero, or dominatrix?
This is a woman that you pay $50 an hour for the privilege of kicking your ass.
What really went on inside of Studio 54?
I remember going up in the balcony. They were very intensely involved in certain activities.
What the hell was Chewbacca's problem anyway?
What, Chew? You tired of fighting already?
The answers to those questions, plus the magic of Gabe Kaplan in the tug of war, and the most famous 5 notes in the universe. Because you love the 70s. Because you and your friends still pretend you're Rappa.
You are my dancing queen.
Admit it. This is 1977.
Oh, yeah. Right on. Can you dig it?
I love the 70s. I love the 70s. I love the 70s.
I watched a lot of Wonder Woman. This was a tremendously popular show in my household. It was a patriotic show. It was a show about Linda Carter in a bathing suit almost every day.
Wonder Woman!
Everybody wanted to be Wonder Woman. How cool was she?
Wonder Woman!
I'm always amazed talking to fairly young people that know who I am. I continue to hear really touching stories.
I would tape it and fast forward. It was like porn for me.
Damn, I had the worst crush on Linda Carter. It was painful. I had a picture of her in 8x10, and I cried in front of it.
There was nobody on TV that was just so sexy.
I actually, as a kid in Kentucky, called the studio trying to reach the soundstage that she was at so I could talk to her. Phone bill was enormous.
I love you, honey! Yes, I know.
The best thing about Wonder Woman was that she always ran into the same small patch of woods to turn into Wonder Woman.
She was a superhero. It was the first time that you really got to see a woman that was tough.
I think the greatest thing was her quick reflexes so that she could, dodge bullets with these bracelets.
Got a black magic woman.
My favorite Wonder Woman power is the lasso of truth.
You cannot lie. Who are you?
And Dr. Heinrich von Klemper.
And you made the clone of Adolf Hitler?
Tell me something good.
I always feared that a woman would have that truth rope, and you just, no, honey, I wasn't there with her last night.
I would like to use the lasso of truth on George W.
Now you'll just have to answer those questions, won't you?
Wonder Woman had an invisible jet, right?
Everybody wants to know about the invisible jet.
But it's a doll. It's so clearly a doll.
It was so ridiculous that we just dropped the whole thing.
The subtext of Wonder Woman is all, to me, about S&M.
I think my reasons for being here are pretty much the same as yours.
This is not a woman to trifle with. This is a woman that you pay $50 an hour for the privilege of kicking your ass.
Far out.
Television in the 70s was great, but the question kept nagging me. Which network had stars more adept at tire running and obstacle courses?
The Battle of the Network Stars.
Enormous stars from the 3 television networks would compete in Olympic-type events while simultaneously wearing short shorts and tank tops.
Jacked up gym socks with the 3 stripes all the way up to the knee and stuff. It was fantastic.
Unfortunately, Howard Cosell decided to lend his name to this.
All to no avail, I suspect.
One of the true bastions of sports journalism.
If we've got a problem, it's absence of leadership. Kaplan is the team captain.
I tended to root for ABC because team captain Gabe Kaplan had long been my favorite athlete.
The CBS team, headed up by Telly Savalas.
Who better qualified than Kojak to be the leader of anything? An army, even.
We're gonna bury him.
Yeah, I'd pick him.
Bob Conrad, obviously extremely serious.
Robert Conrad was a bitch in Battle of the Network Stars. You didn't want to mess with Robert Conrad.
He was screaming and yelling.
Like hell, like hell.
When's this guy gonna kill somebody? When's Jim West gonna take somebody down?
I'm German. I want to kill both of them.
She's a lady.
They would always have the hot actresses in the swimming competition. Of course, it would always be one piece, but you might catch a piece, if you know what I'm saying.
They gave us these bathing suits. I didn't even dawn on me, you know. It's kind of like the wet T-shirt thing.
Shame on you. Shame on you, Battle of the Network Stars.
The denouement, the finale, the big finish, the tug of war.
When we won, there was a bunch of champagne that was brought out. I went up to Howard Cosell and poured it over his head. I didn't know he had a toupee. I didn't know.
Thanks a lot, Linda, baby.
And he was furious.
This time pouring on Linda Carter's head.
They need that again. Come on. Ray Romano in a wrestling death match with Joe Millionaire. Something to pitch to Fox.
I love 77.
Now make room for Abba.
Friday nights and the lights are low. Looking out for a place to go.
You are my dancing queen. They had nice harmony.
You do not love ABBA. You either love it or it's irritating to you.
My father, Korean War veteran, police sergeant, badass. He loves that damn album. He played that stuff to death.
I was definitely in the closet when it came to ABBA. You had to keep certain things from the crowd of people you were hanging out with so you wouldn't get beaten up.
ABBA's look was very satiny and bright and glitzy.
I thought the girls just looked really Nordic and fantastic.
I remember a lot of white, kind of spandexy, bell-bottomy, pantsuit, jumpsuit type things. So I just assumed maybe that was what people looked like from Sweden.
I love when they sing and one turns this way and the other one's singing that way, and then the other one turns that way and the other one keeps singing. And like, that's their version of choreography.
Their faces were really close, like they could just start making out at any time. That added a lot to it.
I think my favorite ABBA song would be...
You hear the drums, Fernando.
Fernando.
Fernando?
Fernando.
There was something in the air that night. The stars were bright. Fernando.
Made the hair in my arms stand up.
There was no finer Swedish supergroup than ABBA. Once Sweden exported ABBA, they just broke the mold.
If I had to do the same again, I would, my friend Fernando.
Jack Turkey.
Have you recently had a close encounter? A close encounter with something very unusual? Who are you people?
To me, the great thing about Close Encounters was this really was the first time, I think, that anybody had created a science fiction universe in which friendly people were coming down.
The alien spacecraft would communicate with tones. Da, 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 da.
Which one is it? Is that it?
Da, 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 da.
I got the first three right.
Bum, 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 bum. Not a very catchy melody. It's a poor man's version of the NBC theme.
Right. I guess the question is, why did the aliens choose those 5 notes as opposed to, say, ABBA's Dancing Queen, which we all would have recognized immediately? The answer is simple. Copyright protection.
They kind of look like what you think aliens are going to look like in that movie.
The aliens were a little skinny. They need a little more meat on the bones. They all looked a little to me like even more slender versions of Roddy McDowell.
With all the tension that was built up about these creatures and what was going to happen, there was a 20-minute love fest at the end of the movie.
Do I believe in alien abductions?
No, I don't believe in alien abduction. I do believe in anal probes, though.
I love 77.
Coming up, Debbie Boone and the big guy upstairs.
Had I known she was singing about God, that would have creeped me out.
The Son of Sam shakes up the Big Apple.
I was just afraid to go out. It was like, you ain't going nowhere.
And everyone loves the Man in Black.
He was just too cool. I couldn't stand it. Started developing a crush. Haven't quite gotten over it yet.
Next on I Love 1977. But first, the roller rink anthem of 1977.
Leif Garrett here. Time to bust out the LeMay shirt and lace up those skates for the roller rink anthem of 1977. Don't Leave Me This Way by Thelma Houston. The roller rink anthem of 1977.
Foxy Ladies of 77.
Eric Estrada here, sending out an APB for the Foxiest Ladies of 1977. Do you copy? Cheryl Ladd, Foxy Farrah replacement. Stevie Nicks, It's No Rumor, she's a fox. Jacqueline Bisset, Wet T-shirt fox. That look will definitely get you out of that speeding ticket. That's a Big 10-4 on the Foxy Ladies of 1977. And yes, they can call me Punch any day.
I love the 70s. I love the 70s.
I must have seen Star Wars about 20 times.
I saw it 4 times in one day.
When Star Wars came out, I was a huge fan. Stood in line, saw it 200 times. Not kidding.
Saw it for the first time at the drive-in.
I felt many things after watching Star Wars, chief among them that I wanted my own lightsaber.
An elegant weapon. Lightsabers are very, sort of sexual in a way. You think about who has a bigger lightsaber?
Luke Skywalker. I better put this down.
Han Solo. I'm captain of the Millennium Falcon.
Han Solo, Harrison Ford, third greatest loved.
No. Sometimes I amaze even myself.
I had the bigger part. What happened to my career afterwards? Sorry, buddy. You needed a better agent, I guess.
I'm never gonna get out of here.
Nothing hotter than a thin, pasty girl with Danishes on either side of her head.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We used to dress up and pretend like we were doing Star Wars. There was a girl that lived across the street. We could not get her hair like Princess Leia's because the pigtails wasn't gonna do it.
I also wanted to know where Carrie Fisher got her accent.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
I think it was the first wheezing bad guy.
Come on, let's tear this ship apart till you found those plans. And bring me the passengers. I want them alive.
I mean, that's scary. Wheezing people scare me. Deviated septum's clearly a sign of the devil.
He was just too cool. I couldn't stand it. Started developing a crush. Haven't quite gotten over it yet.
I've been waiting for you.
If you ran across somebody who spoke some bizarre space language, even if it wasn't even formulated words, you knew totally what they were saying.
Well, you said it, Chewie.
Well, Chewie don't speak English, you know what I mean?
Chewbacca could just go, I hear you, buddy.
What, Chewie? You tired of fighting already? Right, all right. Go take a nap.
I blame Chewbacca for my whole look in the 80s. You could use some Aquanet, though.
Star Wars changed my life.
It was a great adventure as a kid.
I was a freak for Star Wars.
heavy.
Hey, Raj, what's happening?
The show is a classic. You can see an episode of what's happening that you saw 20 years ago, and you still laugh.
I can't help being fat. It runs in my family.
Nobody runs in your family.
Rerun, Roger, Dee, and Miss Thomas.
There was Dee, who seemed to have a peanut butter fetish and always wanted a quarter.
If you want to use the phone, you have to pay a quarter.
I always wanted a quarter.
Shirley! What?
Everyone loves Shirley.
One moment, please.
Hands off, turkey!
She was a horrible waitress.
Here's your clean spoon.
She always had a smart reply.
How's the fish today?
How do you think it is? Dead.
Ernest Thomas, who played Raj. He was 17 years old and still getting spanked by his mother.
Give me a bell.
I wore big glasses and I was skinny. Of course I looked like Raj, but I wanted to be cool like Rerun.
Right.
My favorite character on What's Happening, of course, was Rerun.
He was hot.
The man had fashion sense. The man could dance.
There was no way anybody could touch me when it came to dancing.
Rerun could do them high kicks and, you know, do the robot moves and then twirl around.
You just kind of use your elbows and your arms and you do a lot of, you know, that kind of shabba-doo kind of stuff.
This is actually the lock move. Everything is based off of that.
He was my secret sex symbol.
The characters were great. These are people you want to spend exactly 22 minutes with and no more.
8-track classic.
That's one beautiful song. You light up my life.
You bring me hope to carry on.
You listen to that song, you're gonna make out with your girl.
I remember singing it as a kid, you know, cranking the radio. Had I known she was singing about God, that would have creeped me out. How can it be wrong when it feels so right? God shouldn't be feeling anything. God should keep his paws off.
She sang this song to God. I happen to know God did not sing back. I happen to know God hates Debbie Boone.
I love 77.
Somebody says, what were the 70s like? You could say Mimes had a show.
Shields and Yarnell.
Mime is always entertaining, especially on television.
I think that mimes who get a bad rap deserve it. If you don't do mime well, don't do it.
Everybody plays the fool.
It's a sacred art. There's like, you know, there's like about 15 of us in the world. We're really skilled mimes.
I like Shields and Yarnell because I think there's too much noise in the world.
I mean, you gotta give it up. Shields and Yarnell were good mimes. And that's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? Good mime.
They did this magical physical comedy where they were robot people.
The audience would yell out things at some point during the show, and then they do it. The greatest one, they yelled out cannonball, and they did it.
I never got stumped, I just went for it. You can't think about it, you just do it, you know? I mean,
You just didn't do anything for me.
you know, it's just a,
Were it not for Shields and Yarnell, we wouldn't be watching shows like All Mime of Us, or You Take Yours, I'll Take Mine.
It's a wonderful joy to have this great art surging through me.
I love 77.
Coming up, Tony Manero, crossdresser.
I remember seeing those going, he's wearing my sister's underwear.
Plus, the bloodiest toy of the 70s.
Yeah, all these red marks and everything. People come home bloody.
And who wasn't in Roots?
They couldn't get Gary Coleman. Gary Coleman, unfortunately, would not make an acceptable Kunta Kinte.
Next on I Love 1977. But first, log on to VH1.com for everything 70s. Artist info, photo galleries, CD purchases, and great 70s trivia games.
I love the 70s.
Macho Men of 77.
When you're 10, you know a thing or two about men.
Macho, baby.
Bo Derek here with the Macho Men of 1977. Lindsey Buckingham, Stevie Nicks' Macho Man. Richard Gere, looking for Mr. Goodbar, Macho Man. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, fully pumped Macho Man.
Macho Man. I love the 70s. I love the 70s.
The moves, the outfits, and John Travolta, that's all you have to know to remember Saturday Night Fever.
The movie's about a guy from Brooklyn who has no direction in his life, maybe not the best role model. John Travolta does a 180-degree turn from his character, Vinnie Barbarino, and plays Tony Manero, two totally different guys.
John Travolta could spend hours in front of the mirror combing his hair and his little black skivvies. I remember seeing those going, he's wearing my sister's underwear.
Oh, yeah. John Travolta's character was hot.
Are you as good in bed as you are on that dance floor?
Thank you, John Travolta, for bringing back dance.
You can be the biggest stick in the mud, but you hear and you're out on the dance floor.
I especially like the part where he's getting ready to go dancing and he doesn't want to mess up his hair.
We just washed the hair.
Travolta's character's wearing a napkin up like this so he can protect his dancing shirt. His father pops him on the head. He's like, hey, I worked really hard on my hair, and he hits it.
He hits my hair.
And he was kind of a jerk in some ways, too.
I changed my mind about us dancing together. I got another partner.
Yeah, I felt bad for Donna, but I felt bad for everyone in that movie.
Hey, Tony! Look at me! It's too dangerous.
Hey, quit around, man. You're scaring me. Get back in the car.
Now, don't get upset. Come on, we'll talk. We'll go talk in the car. It's warmer there.
How come you never called me? It was intense.
Whoa, whoa. I thought this was a dancing flick.
For people who are not New Yorkers, that movie created your impression of a New Yorker. You're like, man, everybody can dance in New York.
Right on.
Studio 54 was the bomb.
I was a big disco chick. I found my haven at Studio 54.
Before going to Studio 54, you read about who was there, the Warhol crowd, Liza Minnelli, and then you went, and they were all there.
Studio 54 also attracts hordes of the not-so-famous who come hoping to be part of the scene.
They didn't tell you everything on the news. Hey, I'm outside of Studio 54. But what the hell was going on inside was the most interesting thing.
I was a waiter at Studio 54. I remember going up in the balcony. They were very intensely involved in certain activities they were doing up there.
Donkeys and ponies and sheep.
I saw sex going on at Studio 54. How shameful.
It's sort of like a mecca. Everyone comes here to do whatever they want.
This big moon came down with a spoon.
Saw somebody shooting up in the bathroom.
In my guesstimates, there was over 77 million tons of coke snorted at Studio 54 in that year alone.
It barely gets started before midnight when the selection process gets into high gear.
I went to the door of Studio 54, having just come back from the big, successful Van Halen first tour, and the fella at the door said, nah, he didn't recognize me.
You had to be fabulous looking, didn't you?
If you didn't have the right outfit on, you'd stuck outside.
Can you back up from the ropes, please?
There's no way in a million years we're gonna get in. It doesn't matter if you're not caving. Listen, just go home.
Ian Traeger and Steve Rebell, when you're homely, you start your own club, and then you let good-looking people in.
You couldn't have met two bigger geeks. If they didn't own that club, they could never have got in there.
I love 77.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
I just adored Queen. It's like, have they written a song that I don't like?
We just heard the music, and it just seemed to go on forever. You always thought that any time that Bohemian Rhapsody came on, it meant that the DJ had diarrhea. He needed time.
I was on the track team when We Will Rock You came out, and I could run for hours with that song on.
People who had no rhythm could not get the do-do-sh.
Caviar and cigarettes.
Freddie Mercury was arguably the best frontman there's ever been.
She's a killer queen.
Just electrifying on stage, amazing performer.
Guaranteed to blow your mind.
Just to sit him at the white piano, and he'd have his white satin suit on, and he had the black nail polish on.
Leather trousers.
The unitard bodysuit with the chest down to here.
You look like you're in the Village People, Fred, you know. Then you come out and say you're gay, you're like, going, yep, there you go, you owe me £5.
Somehow I was too naive as a child to know that Queen was a gay reference. That went over my head.
We Are the Champions is very clever. Queen were clever.
They were a little full of themselves. They're the champions. They're gonna rock you. How about a little modesty, guys? There's a reason there's a group called Humble Pie. Maybe try taking a slice for yourselves.
Heavy.
New York City in 1977 was a very scary place to be.
That was really a scary summer.
A lot of muggings and junkies every place.
Start spreading the news.
New York City in 1977, the Yankees won the World Series. There was a blackout in the middle of the summer, and the son of Sam, he was shooting people.
The son of Sam was so scary.
He had the whole city shook.
I was just afraid to go out. It was like, you ain't going nowhere.
It's flipped out, you know? I don't even want to go out anymore, just look.
You got me so I guess that night.
Son of Sam was Jewish. First Jewish serial killer. That's one for the home team. Thanks, Dave.
Supposedly, Son of Sam was killing people on the direction of a dog belonging to a neighbor of his.
Dog don't tell you to do that. Dog tell you, get me a bone.
I remember the blackout. I was going downstairs to do the laundry, and all the lights went out.
You get stuck in subways and elevators.
All my friends ran down to Jamaica Avenue to go looting.
The next day, everybody on Avenue C had new sneakers.
Do a little bit of after-hour shopping at Sears, Roebuck and Company.
The best I ever had.
In the middle of all this, the New York Yankees were beating the hell out of the competition.
I loved Reggie Jackson.
Reggie.
He hit 3 home runs in the 1977 World Series.
He did it on 3 successive pitches, and that clinched it for New York.
It was our big plan to be able to run on the field when the Yankees win the World Series.
Third out come the 9th inning, you run around. Feel that grass, baby, run around.
Everyone's just storming on the field, and we see this guy getting his head beaten in by a cop with a nightstick, and my brother and I got scared and ran right back to our seats.
It was a great reminder that New York is a very brotherly, sisterly kind of place.
That was my golden year.
Would I like to have lived here in 1977? Absolutely. Bring it on.
I love 77.
Coming up, the secret to Bert's sex appeal.
Burt Reynolds was 6 village people in one human being.
Plus, Woody Allen, 70s sex symbol
There is nothing sexier than an intellectual, nebbish Jew.
And the real reason punks were so pissed off.
So many factors go into becoming a punk star, the most important of which is that you cannot be good looking.
Next on I Love 1977. But first, remember this.
We have assembled here a most congenial group, brought together by their love for a truly great beer. Right, group? Right! They think the best thing about it is it's less filling. It has 1/3 less calories than their regular beer. Right, group?
Wrong! The best thing about it, it tastes great. No, Horning, it's less filling. Says who? Says me.
No wonder you don't get no respect. I tell you, I don't deserve no respect.
Hi, Mickey.
Hi, doll.
What's a nice guy like you doing in a fight like this?
Waiting for you, doll.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
I love the 70s.
Wonders of 77.
I'm Linda Carter, bringing you the wonders of 1977. President Carter's brother Billy turned his favorite pastime into a business, introducing Billy Beer. Oh, another wonder, the first MRI, and for us ladies, the sports bra.
I love the 70s. I love the 70s.
Smokey and the Bandit was created basically because in the 70s, the 55 speed law was starting to be pushed lower and lower. So in response to this, psychologically, America needed a movie about a guy who drives however he wants, and the cops can never catch him.
I don't even remember the plot.
Well, who the hell knows?
I don't know.
I love the fact that they were just trying to get beer to a big party in Florida.
It seems like you can follow the letter of the law and still transport beer across state lines, even in 1977.
You know, trucking Coors beer east of Texas is bootlegging.
Burt Reynolds was the ultimate guy in the 70s.
That smile and the high-pitched laugh.
There was something about him in a car.
Burt Reynolds was 6 village people in one human being.
Classic guy.
Classy guy.
Sally Field's a tremendous actress who showed sensitivity and vulnerability.
They're not fat.
And a lot of humor.
Want a bed?
Really cute frog, they called her.
And you're kind of cute like a frog, and I'd like to jump you.
Well, I remember that Jackie Gleason is very minimalist in his performance, very quiet.
That's a big 10-4. This is Sheriff Buford D. Justice of Texas.
He's got the stupid son.
Daddy, the top came off.
No.
There's no way.
No way that you could come
You
from
fruit of
my
my
loins. As soon as I get home, the first thing I'm gonna do is punch your mama in the mouth.
It's hard to believe that Annie Hall won the Best Picture of 1977 in the same year that Smokey and the Bandit came out. Where is the justice?
Are we gonna do what they say can't be done?
Right on.
It had to be you. I wandered around.
Annie Hall is in my top 3 or 4 favorite movies of all time. It's the movie that made me want to move to New York, the movie that made me want to continue being Jewish.
Don't you see the rest of the country looks upon New York like we're left-wing communist, Jewish, homosexual pornographers? I think of us that way sometimes, and I live here.
There is nothing sexier than an intellectual, nebbish Jew.
You're what Grammy Hall would call a real Jew.
Thank you.
Sure, I like Woody Allen. Everybody likes Woody Allen. I'm better looking, but I don't get the quality of women that Woody Allen seems to get.
Are you busy Friday night?
Me? Oh, no.
Annie Hall represents a time when Woody Allen could unapologetically cast himself as a sex symbol.
Let's stop right there, take a deep breath, and think about what we just said. Woody is a sex symbol. Carry on.
No! Oh, good, now you'll say
Good for him. He's keeping on keeping on. Let's keep casting myself with these really hot women coming on to me.
To this day, if I see women adopting that retro Diane Keaton style, I get very erect.
I love what you're wearing.
Oh, you do? Yeah? Oh, well, it's, this tie is a present from Grammy Hall.
Ain't no woman like the one I've got.
There are a lot of young women, and I include myself, who saw Annie Hall when they were young and thought, I want to move to New York and I want to live just like her.
Since our discussions here, I feel I have a right to my own feelings.
She was questioning and she was embracing all the different, things that 1977 had to offer.
Alvy, come on, for your own experience. I mean, you want to write? Why not?
Great stuff, Alvy. When you're back on the East Coast, would you mind scoring some coke for me? As he just, sneezes and blows the cocaine all over the place.
It was a great movie because it had all those really silly parts that were always good about Woody Allen, with a real story and heart.
For those of us Woody files, I'd say that was his greatest movie.
Annie Hall is just paramount. It's just genius.
I love 77.
These are Clickies, the new toy for the trendy technological age.
Clackers.
I remember Kabangers.
Clackers, kabangers.
They're click-clacks.
The 70s was full of invented toys out of nothing, which is why they had to start putting warnings on garbage bags that said this is not a toy, because in the 70s, anything was up for grabs, and one of them was clackers.
There was nothing really like a classroom full of people doing clackers at once. It was a resounding, deafening volley.
If you can get it, it kind of have a meditative thing.
This would always happen.
Why I'm easy. I'm easy like Sunday morning.
Forget it.
They were taken off the market because children were dying and having their ears ripped off and their eyes gouged out.
It was basically an aboriginal hunting tool. Let's give this to kids. This is used to kill deer.
Yeah, all these red marks and everything. People come home bloody.
It might shatter and blind me. This is fun.
Kabangers are now outlawed in 37 states. Don't be afraid of the kabanger. Just go with it and kabang.
You did?
It's 1977 and rock and roll is dead.
Let's go.
Punk was awesome.
Let's go.
It was true rock and roll spirit. It was groundbreaking. Punks were pissed off. They beat the out of each other,
The best thing that happened in the 70s was the Sex Pistols.
I like Anarchy in the UK for its message. Let's overthrow the government. These are words that are close to my heart as a member of the Black Panther Party.
The Ramones created the sound, and the Sex Pistols perfected it, and then The Clash popularized it.
So many factors go into becoming a punk star, the most important of which is that you cannot be good looking.
I'm looking for a kiss.
You could be a horrible, misshapen toad and still have your own sexy rock and roll band.
Very difficult to be shooting up in between your toes 15 times a day, and then I'm Ivory Fresh.
These really cute girls I knew all of a sudden looked really ugly. And they had things in their ears and safety pins all over.
The ugliest band probably was the Ramones. Joey Ramone was not a looker, and I think he was smart to put his hair over his face.
Thank God for punk.
I love 77.
Coming up, the decade's biggest miniseries inspires racial harmony.
I did not watch Roots. I did not want to go to school mad and have to beat up some white folks.
Next on I Love 1977. But first, the follicle fads of 1977.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes with your follicle fad of 1977. Oh, yeah. We got a two-way tie between chest hair and the mohawk. Chest hair was for those young disco dancers. Mohawk was for the punks. Who knows more about hair than me? Ouch, punk.
I love the 70s.
Bella says the primate of 77 is...
Kinte, behold, the only thing greater than yourself.
I remember Roots very well. It was, it was groundbreaking television.
That was like the first time that black people have just ever seen their story told on television.
That show stopped the world.
Roots was 8 days of just everybody watching Roots.
So,
I did not watch Roots. I did not want to go to school mad and have to beat up some white folks. I had an attitude problem anyway.
I lived in the South, so most of us would just sit around and watch that and feel bad.
it was the most watched television show in the history of the media. The subject matter had never been covered to that degree.
Must give you a new name. Must say, you name Toby.
Hey, what's the matter with you? Cut me loose.
Kunta Kinte.
Roots was a great miniseries that also demonstrated the dearth of black actors in Hollywood because almost everyone was used in it. You just have to ask, where's Red Fox?
They couldn't get Gary Coleman. Gary Coleman, unfortunately, would not make an acceptable Kunta Kinte.
Ah, peace to you, Kunta. I am Kati today.
O.J. Simpson was in Roots. Really?
O.J., the murderer, was in Roots. Who was he killing in there?
Tom Bridges. He was in Roots.
I played Ben Vereen's grandson.
Well, Ben Vereen, Chicken George, you will never forget in your life.
I'm so glad you could join the Sister Matilda.
You sitting and mucking a fine man like my daddy? You is no count, George Mo.
Wait, excuse me a minute.
In Roots, Robert Reed, who was Mike Brady, was a slave owner.
I'm a patient man, Phyllis, so I'll tell you one more time. I own you.
What the Brady Bunch doing being enslaved? We knew something. That's why they had all them kids. We were introduced to LeVar Burton.
Seeing LeVar Burton's character, Kunta Kinte, being forced to take his new name, Toby.
What's your name? Kunta Kinte.
Your name is not Kunta Kinte. It's Toby. I was like, oh, Lord have mercy.
That really struck with me.
Come on, get up, stand up. Stand up for your right.
Roots was so historical, I think, because no one had really saw in depth what happened to black people in America.
I knew that I was being involved in something that was going to help rectify and change those stereotypes forever.
I love 77.
This is the future.
It's endless drinks.
Some serious stuff going on.
It's pretty people. It's a light show. Oh my God, it's like unbelievable. It's all show business. That's what you get. Ta-da.
Don't stop the beat.
Do we have each other's phone numbers?
No.
I guess my answer is no.